Hey guys, Pride here. As you all know, the ban list dropped at the YCS in the most spectacular way possible. And because of that, two dangers got sent from limited to semi-limited, both Danger Jackalope and Tsuchinoko. And as you know, my longtime fans know that the dangers were one of my favorite archetypes of all time. And so I thought I should add them to the deck and show you what I came up with. Now, just like in all the other videos, when all dangers share the same first effect, you reveal them, your opponent chooses at random. If they hit it, then it gets discarded, but if they hit any other card, you can special summon it. And you also get a draw. First up, we got Danger Bigfoot, my favorite danger. When this card is discarded, you discard, you target one face-up card your opponent controls and destroy it. Thunderbird targets one face-down card your opponent controls and destroys it. Nessie will search any danger monster aside from itself and add to your hand. Mothman lets both players draw and discard one. 2 Danger Tsuchinoko, this card will summon itself. 2 Danger Jackalope. Basically, when this card is discarded, you can special summon a danger monster from your deck in defense position aside from Tsuchinoko. Aside from Jackalope, sorry. And then finally, we got Danger Chupacabra, which just acts as the monster born for the dangers. Next up, for the Dark World, we got 3 Rainbow. When this card is discarded by your own card effect, you can basically add a level 5 or higher Dark World monster from deck to hand. And if this card is discarded by your opponent's card effect, not only do you get that, but you can take a level 4 or lower Dark World monster from your deck and special summon it to either side. There's a specific target you want to aim for, really, if you haven't drawn it already. Next up, we got 2 Grapha. This card will destroy any card your opponent controls if discarded, and if it was sent by an opponent's card effect, you can randomly choose one card in your opponent's hand, and if it's a monster, you can special summon it to your side. 3 Genta. When this card basically allows you to activate in the hand, discard it to search the field spell. And if this card's in your graveyard while you control a face-up Dark World spell card, you can banish it. And if it's banished, you can special summon it. Of course, that effect is optional. Most of these are not optional. Next up, you got the main searcher of the deck, which lets you, when this card is discarded, lets you search for nearly any Dark World card in your deck. There's one exception, and I'll get to that later. Snow can even search itself, ironically enough. Next up, we got Brow. When discarded, lets you draw one, and by opponent's card effect, lets you draw 2. Silva. This is the one you mainly want to discard off an opponent's card effect. Basically, when it's discarded, you special summon it. But if it's by an opponent's card effect, not only do you do that, but 2 cards in their hand go to the bottom of their deck. The opponents chooses which cards in their hand go, by the way. Then 1 Cerulli. This card is the MVP. When this card is discarded, it summons itself to your opponent's side of the field, and then it forces you to discard another card. So since this is technically an opponent's monster at the time, you can discard this to gain both of its effects. And then you just have to work on bouncing it back to your hand to hand loop your opponent. Next up, for the spell cards. 3 Gates of the Dark World. Basically, you banish 1 Fiend monster in your graveyard for cost. If it goes through, you discard another Fiend and draw 1. Next up, Dark World Ascension. This card lets you fusion summon, and if it's for a Dark World monster, you can banish the materials from your graveyard. And if this card is in your graveyard, you can add to your hand and discard 1 Dark World monster. Next up, one card Snow cannot search. Dark Corridor, which allows you to search any Dark World monster and add to your hand, and then discard 1 from your hand to the graveyard. You can even discard the one you add. Unfortunately, it's a hard once, and since it can't be searched, you want to run multiple copies. 2 is best. You could get away with running 3, but I think 2 is the safest option. Dark World Archives. This card has 2 effects. First effect, you can discard 1 Dark World monster in your hand, and all current ones you control on board gain attack points equal to that monster's level, multiplied by 100. And if a card is discarded by a Dark World effect, you can discard another card and draw 2. Next, we got the Beginning of the End. basically if you have 7 or more dark monsters in your graveyard, you can banish 5 of them. If it goes through, you draw 3. Then finally, the best card in the deck, Card Destruction. Pretty self-explanatory considering this deck revolves around discarding your hand. Next up, we got the Fusion Grappa. This card is one of your main boss monsters. Basically, it's an Omni. If your opponent activates a normal spell, trap, or monster effect, you can change it to where it forces you to discard a card, allowing you to gain access to all of your Dark World effects. Next up, this card kicks the bucket. You can special summon the OG Grappa to the board. Next up, we got number 60, Dugaris the Timeless. You basically want to use its draw effect, which allows you to draw 2 and discard 1. But in exchange, you have to skip your next draw phase, which in this deck is actually kind of good because you draw nearly the entire damn thing. Next up, we got Abyss Dweller. Coach King Giant Trainer for the draw power and the burn damage. I mean, this card allows you to draw 3 cards for free. Next up, for more burn, we got Gaga Cowboy. And even more burn, Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. You gotta hate the time rolls, you know? Next up, we got number 1, Infectious Buzz King. This card basically, I just put it in here to help me destroy my opponent's extra deck, as well as give me insight of what they're playing. Next up, number 38, Hope Harbinger. I would use the Quarter Century, but that's in my numbers binder along with the number 60. This card is just my spell negation. Next up, for a monster negate, I run number 90. And that's it for the links. For the Xyz, sorry. For the links, I run Security Dragon. This card basically is what you use to bounce Ceruli back to your hand. Next up, we got Dark for the late grind game. SP Little Knight. One of my favorite links of all time, BLS. And finally, Saruja. Anyway, that is my Danger Dark World deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Check out my Twitch, check out my Twitter, and I'll catch you guys next time. Later.